What's up, YouTube? It is your boy JB, and we are here today for the second episode review of Pose Season 3. This episode was titled Intervention. Ooh, there were a lot of people in this episode that needed intervention. We're going to talk about it. But before we get into this episode review, if you guys are watching this video and any of my other videos, and you're not already subscribed to the channel, what are you waiting for, you guys? It's like you taking me out on a date. We eat our meal, get to the, who gonna pay for it, and at the end of the night, you leave me with my portion and you pay for your portion. Don't do that to me. Subscribe, you guys. It's free. But let's go ahead and get into this review, shall we? All right, you guys. So this episode, it starts off, we see Blanca and Judy. So Blanca and Judy are having lunch, and Blanca is telling Judy about Pratel's drinking and him popping pills. Now, I didn't know he was popping pills and drinking. Lord, terrible combination. So Judy tells her she wouldn't know because she hasn't talked to Pratel in a week. Actually, scratch that. He hasn't talked to me in weeks, she says. And Blanca's like, what happened? So we see a flashback scene where Judy and Pratel were at the, the funeral home. Pratel came in smelling of alcohol, and he has sunglasses on because his pupils are dilated. She tells him, like, dude, get your shit together. So Judy tells Blanca that there's only one hope for him. I'm like, girl, I know you're not talking about intervention. You as a nurse should know better than that one. So we see the family. So they are preparing for this intervention with a woman by the name of Lisa. And shit, you need to have a triple intervention because you got Lulu there. And Lulu, actually, before they even walked up there, you can see Lulu and Angel. You can definitely look at Lulu and tell Lulu was on some type of drugs. So I'm like, y'all done went from lacing your weed with crack to just smoking crack, huh? So you need to have an intervention for Pratel and for Lulu and for Angel. So, and the sad part was, before she walked up there, she wanted to take a hit. I'm like, girl, you need help too. So yeah, get a 3-for-1. And my notes said a 2-for-1, but actually it needs to be a 3-for-1. So Lisa tells them that they need to write a letter to Pratel, and Ricky was like, what are we gonna say in this letter? And then Ricky was like, so basically, because what Lisa was saying to him, so he says, basically you making us you're turning the addict into a victim. So she tells them to write the letter to Pratel and tell him how his drinking is affecting them. So Blanca has already wrote a letter, and Lisa says, okay, you read your letter and I'm gonna brief Pratel. And she reads the letter, and he's like, so Lisa, once again, pretending to be Pratel, she was like, bitch, please. And Poppy was like, don't talk to my mama like that. And Lulu was like, Poppy, are you always this stupid? I'm like, Poppy. She's acting. She's not really playing. She's not calling your mama a bitch. She's pretending like what Pratel is going to exactly say to her, which was actually a lot worse. But we'll get into that. So Blanca breaks down, and I realize, I'm like, okay, so Blanca is still she wants to help everybody. So I feel like she wants to help Pratel because she was not able to help Damon, who relapsed, and he's in South Carolina with a cousin for good now. So Electra asks Lisa about rehab. She's like, so do you have donors that'll pay for it? She's like, oh, nah, babe, we don't have no donors. Y'all don't got to pay for that. And Electra's like, how much is it? She said $2,500 a month. I said, oh, what? Electra's like, what is this, the 5 seasons? Like, is there anywhere else he can go? She says he can go to Bellevue. Now, I'm not from New York, so I don't know anything about Bellevue, but what they said about Bellevue, it has bars and all that kind of shit. I'm like, so it's like a jail? No. Is Bellevue like an insane asylum or something like that? Like, I don't know. So Electra tells them, the cash prize winnings at the ball is $500. So all 5 of us can do that, and we will have the money, and we will, we'll get it done. All right, you guys. So let's move on, you guys. All right, you guys. Once again, the music selection, amazing. Because they play You Gotta Show Me. Yeah, love it. Love what they're doing with the music. So Poppy, so we see as Elektra is whipping everybody into shape. We see her with working with Ricky. We see her. She's at Poppy's job, and she's trying to get some gowns for Angel to walk in the ball. And Angel was trying on the gowns. The first one she did not like, but the second one she did like, however. So then we see Lulu and Angel, and they both need some help. They both look like they are casket ready. I mean, they look pale in the face. So Poppy comes home, and for some odd reason, Angel wants to play it off like she's not on drugs. I'm like, girl, your face is giving it. If your body ain't giving it away, it's your face. Your face is definitely giving it away. So Poppy wants to give her an invention saying basically he won't marry Angel unless she get help. And then she wants to play off like, oh, you're probably cheating on me. I'm like, oh, deflection. That's what you want to do. So he tells you he won't marry you because you on drugs, and you gonna deflect and say, oh, you're probably cheating on me anyways. Good try, bitch. Good try. So then, we see Lulu. So I'm guessing Lulu was supposed to be in the Candy Sweet Refrain part of the ball. So she has on this shake and go wig. She's supposed to be Toni Braxton. The wig could have been better. So she's doing You Mean the World to Me. And I'm actually going to agree with Elektra, because that performance was not good. Like, if you want to win the ball, I mean, she was doing all the movements and everything, but I'm just like, no, Lulu, no. So basically, Elektra has clocked the fact that she has, taken to the crack pipe. And, she's telling her she needs to do something, like get off of the crack. That's what you need to do. And she tells her, you can be behind the scenes, but at this point, we don't need you up front. So then we see Blanca. So Blanca is getting ready to meet Christopher's parents. And, she's really, once again, worried about his parents clocking her. But Angel's giving her a pep talk, and I love the fact that Angel was, uplifting her. And, Blanca asked Angel what was up with Lulu when they were talking to Lisa the other day. She says, and she's like, she's getting really thin. So Angel's like, oh, she's modeling. And, Poppy, he's helping her get some gigs. I'm like, girl, well, you know what? I have to remember this is the 90s. And yes, in the 90s, models were, there were people trying to fit into what, and even to this day, they still do it, trying to be thin. So they were becoming bulimic and anorexic. So I can see it. But why does her skin look the way it looks? That is correct. But let's move on. So, Duda from The Chi is playing Chris's dad. So we meet his parents. So his parents are gushing over him, how smart he is. He didn't, at 5 years old or 5 or 6, he no longer believed in Santa Claus. And Blanca's like, I don't believe in Santa Claus either because Santa Claus left me a note saying he wasn't able to bring me an easy bake oven, and it was in my mom's handwriting. So they asked Blanca and Chris. Well, actually, Blanca said, so Chris tells me that you guys are high school, college sweethearts. And she's like, they were like, yes, we met sophomore year. And then senior year, I proposed to her. We got married and we decided to wait to have kids. So his mom says, so Blanca, do you want to have kids? I didn't catch it at that time that she had clocked Blanca. I thought she was, well, you know what, I guess I should have clocked it. I should have figured it out because she asked her, did she want to have kids? Like, okay. If you just said that you waited to have kids, why are you asking this woman if she wants to have kids? But like I said, I should have caught it, but I didn't catch it. So they asked how then Blanca and Chris meet. So Blanca and Chris, they met at work, and from what they showed us, they met in the elevator, and then the next thing we see them having sex. So it was an immediate connection. So when Chris's mom asked Blanca, does she want to have kids? She says, well, I already have 4 kids. And she's like, oh, you do? He's like, Blanca's a house mother. And his mama looked like, what the hell is a house mother? And he tells her, kind of like how I call Aunt Cindy, but she's not really my aunt. She's like, oh, so they're just your friends. I'm like, ooh, girl, I don't like you already. So then he talks about Blanca, how she was an entrepreneur. She's like, oh, what did you do? She said, I owned a nail salon. She was like, oh, intriguing. It's not like, she said something like intriguing or something like that. She's like, oh, but I could, help you get your cuticles healthy. I was like, come on, Blanca. Yes. Read this old biddy down. So then we see her, Blanca, she's talking to Electra and Angel about this date. And Electra asked her, did his parents clock her? She says, no, they did not clock her. She said, what are they, elderly or vision? What did she say? She said, are they elderly or are they, she said, are they elderly or are they vision compromised? I'm like, Electra, come on. I mean, I know you can clock Blanca, but damn. You could have been a little bit subtle about it, but damn, are they elderly or vision compromised? But I mean, at the end of the day, Electra does give her, she says, and Blanca was like, when it comes down to it, I shouldn't have to spill all my tea. He should defend me, which is true. He should defend her. But Blanca doesn't feel that she's good for him. Don't think that. Don't you think that? Well, let's move on. All right, you guys. So here's the interesting thing for me. I don't remember. I don't think we know. I don't think we knew too much about the council, did we? Let me know in the comment section. But we see Prytel, so he's at Castle's apartment, and he's trying to get Castle to come out, get out of bed, and come down to the ball. So Castle does eventually get up out of his bed, and he goes to the bathroom to get himself together. And then on his nightstand, nightstand, dresser, whatever you want to call it, there are a bunch of pill bottles up there. And Prytel says, are you planning on something? Like, why do you have so many pills? He's like, girl, if I was going to kill myself, I would go to the Plaza Hotel, order the nicest food, and that would be it. So keep that in mind, you guys. But he says he's saving those pills for a rainy day. What does a rainy day mean? Like, I would think a rainy day for someone who, do pills expire? Yes, they do. What is a rainy day? What is a rainy day with pills? I mean, I know some people, if they can't easily get their medication, they might say, oh, I'm just saving those for a rainy day if I can't get my medication. But he looks like he's storing pills just in case he wants to overdose. But hey, we just gonna move on. So then we are at the ball. So we see it's the house of Evangelista going against the house of Khan. So we see Nefertiti, Khan, she's walking down the, she's going down the, doing her thing. Her outfit was very basic at best. I'm gonna have to be honest with you. She's a gorgeous girl, but that outfit was basic. Electra comes out. Electra's outfit, giving everything. And she got that bird cage with her, so Electra was giving it. So they give the scores, and I think for Nefertiti, I think she got, if I'm remembering correctly, she got all 6s and Electra got all 10s. So Electra wins the money. And then we see over at the bar, Castle is getting drunk. I'm like, damn, so y'all mixing alcohol and pills. Y'all just want to die, huh? So then we see Lamar. So Lamar comes out. So the next category is Candy Sweet Refrain. So Lamar comes out, and Lamar is in this Beetlejuice outfit. I know Tyrone said he looked like prison gear, but that was Beetlejuice to me. So Lamar comes out and he performs. His performance is Janet Jackson's "If." Wasn't a big fan of it. Gonna be honest with you, wasn't the biggest fan of it. So the judges give him his score. He gets 10, 10, 10, 10, 10, and he got a 9. I think he got like 4 10s and 1 9. I think that's correct. I can't remember. So then, and meanwhile, he's shading the hell out of Pray Tell, talking about, ooh, you old girls, I didn't know they let y'all in this category. So Pray Tell, he's up next. Pray Tell does En Vogue's Never Gonna Get It, 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 Never Get It. Like, man, he did a good job with that, and Pray Tell got all 10s. So Lamar is mad at this point, and Lamar wants a recount. I'm like, girl, sit down. So him and Pray Tell gets into it, and he says, he takes out a knife and is like, I'm gonna cut you. So Ricky comes up, grabs the knife, and while they're trying to break that up, Castle is over there at the bar. Castle falls off of his stool and has a seizure. So outside, Pray Tell's trying to go to the emergency room with him. And they, the EMS man, he had his mask up to his nose. And Pray Tell's like, that shit is not airborne. That it's not airborne. That reminds me of that episode of Girlfriends when Kimberly Lease was on there and she played someone who had HIV. And she was cutting a sandwich or something, and she accidentally cut herself, and she bled, and everybody jumped away from her. She was like, I'll throw it away. I'll throw the knife away, everything away, and let's torch the house. Which, even in the 2000s, people were still with that ignorant shit. It's not an airborne disease. It's a sexually transmitted disease. It's a disease that you can get by bodily fluid, like blood, semen. People, whatever. So when Pray Tell wanted to go with the EMTs, they told him to take a separate car. And Blanca was like, what, I've talked to Judy. She's at the hospital. She'll be there waiting for him when he gets there. And she says, like, we got one more category to win, Pray. Like, let's go back in. Y'all, I'm not gonna argue about y'all about no goddamn Kenya. I don't care. Where was I at? So yeah, they go back in. Ricky is doing his category and he wins. So then Lamar comes back over to the bar and talking to Pray Tell. He's like, I wasn't gonna cut you. But then he's antagonizing the shit out of Pray Tell. And Pray Tell got up and popped his ass and laid him on the ground. I'm like, exactly. Shut up. But let's move on, you guys. All right, you guys. This next scene. This next scene was terrible. So we see the family and they having dinner. And once again, Pray Tell is drunk and Blanca's like, why don't you eat? And he's like, oh, girl, I drink. I'm like, oh, God. So he's upset about, Castle because he can't go. And, Blanca's like, well, visiting hours are over. So Blanca takes this time to tell him that they are sending him to rehab. I was like, oh, so this is how we're doing it. Okay, I'm like, I don't think this is going to go well. So then Poppy talks about Lisa. He's like, who is Lisa? And then, he tells him that she sold him the wrote the letters. I'm like, yeah, this is not going to go the way that y'all want it to go. It's going to go bad. I didn't expect for it to go this bad, but it went bad. So Blanca reads her letter. I was like, ooh. So at first, Pray Tell seemed like he was on board with it. Then he asked him, how much does this shit cost? And like, how y'all sending me there? And Blanca has the money. And she's like, oh, he was like, oh, that's why y'all was going so hard for the money. After this, everything went to hell. Ricky read his letter. I don't know who he went worse, who he went harder on. Was it, because he literally told Ricky, you ain't shit, you ain't gonna be shit. He just really read into Ricky. And Ricky eventually left. He's like, yeah, you're probably gonna go look for Damon and hop on that dick. I was like, well, damn. They always say a drunk mind speaks a sober heart. Is that what it is? A drunk mind? Yep. Jesus, he just went in. Then Angel gonna get up and talk from her heart. He says, I'm not gonna take no advice from no crackhead. I was like, oh God, not the crackhead. Then Electra gets up and reads her letter. He read into Electra. He called her a narcissist, a granny with old furs. I was like, oh my God. Then Blanca comes over. I'm like, Blanca, baby, back up. That bullet can hit anybody. Well, shit, the bullet hit Blanca. I'm like, damn, I don't know who, pray tell, read the worst. And he says, don't come at me. Get y'all shit together before y'all come at me. Now, I'm going to be in agreement about one person I'm going to agree with him about, and that is Angel. Angel, girl, sit down. You on crack. Sit down. Now, Blanca and Electra, you went too hard at them for no reason. Yes, yes, Electra is a narcissist. Absolutely, she's a narcissist. But the issue is, Pray Tell didn't want to hear people tell him about himself. That's really what it is. And I wish people would get it in their head when it comes to an alcoholic. You can want an alcoholic or a drug addict to get the help, but it has to be they have to want to get the help. Like I know an alcoholic, and everyone has talked to this person about the drinking, and we've all gotten to the point where we're like, you know what, we love you, but you grown, you live your life, and that's what it is. Let's see where we at now. So then we see Ricky. So Ricky is back home and he's packing up, and Pray Tell come back home. He's like, do you want me to make you a cocktail? And Ricky was like, no, and you don't need one either. So Ricky tells him, I love you, but I don't want to be like my mama. I don't want to stay in a situation that's toxic and feeling like, if I leave, I have nowhere to go. So Pray Tell then tries to beg Ricky to stay with him because everybody leaves him. And I'm like, Ricky, if you fall for that shit, you stupid. He's playing you. He does not he wants you to stay, but that's an alcoholic. He doesn't want to get help. He's trying to suck you in. But Ricky says, no, I'm leaving. And he leaves. So let's move on, you guys. All right, you guys. Next, we see Angel and Poppy. So Poppy had set up this dinner for Angel, and she was like, when did you do this? He told her. And she was like, so what is this for? He says, this is a celebration. She's like, for what? He says, Calvin Klein's want you, for that, Calvin Klein booked you for a new fragrance that they have. And she was like, oh, that's cool. But she says, I had other plans. And she tells him that she's working on her sobriety. And she tells him she's working on her sobriety. And that she talked to Lisa. She owned up to her drug use with crack. And she signed herself up for outpatient treatment because she wants to, when she walks down the aisle, she wants to be sober. I'm like, congratulations. Tell Lulu to do the same thing because Lulu needs some fucking help as well. We not forgetting about Lulu. Like, I am not going to get off of Lulu. We can talk about Pray Tell. We can talk about Angel. Let's talk about Lulu. Lulu needs help too. So then we see Blanca. So Blanca went home to Chris and he asked her how was things with Pray Tell. She says, you can't help somebody that don't want help. 1,000%. I never understand. I don't understand. I mean, I get why people do interventions because they want to help a loved one. But like I said, that person has to be reciprocal to the help. You can throw out the help all day, every day. They have to be someone who wants to reciprocate that help. But now she's mad at Chris because Chris is talking about some of his patients. She's like, Pray Tell is not one of your patients that you can diagnose. He says, I know. And then, he says, I'm just trying to help you. She's like, you didn't even defend me with your parents. And, I already have my doubts about you. And now I have your mama in my ear as well. So then he says, well, my parents invited them to dinner. She was reluctant to go. But we see them and they out with his mama, who is bougie as all hell. So I guess I'm guessing the menu that they were looking at it was in French. So Blanca, she was like, so Blanca, what looks good on the menu? And Blanca was like, it all looks like, chicken scratch to me. So then it went into a conversation about what languages Blanca speaks. She says, well, I took Spanish in school. She says, also, are you fluent? She says, semi. She says, in the house, my mom spoke Spanish, but she wanted us to speak English. And she's like, so your mom didn't, tell you to take French as a third, so you can be trilingual. And Blanc was like, we were trying to survive, and we didn't take it so that we can learn how to read these fancy ass menus. And so at this point, Blanca going in on Mama, and Blanca told her, "You know I'm trans, right?" She was like, "Yes, I do know you're trans." I'm like, "Oh, so you were begging, huh?" And she was talking to Chris. She was like, "But Chris, I know that you want to have kids. How are you going to have kids with Blanca?" Easy. Easy, baby. Adoption. And then she's like, well, my husband is a psychologist and he works with, so they're saying transsexuals in this time period. She's like, my husband works with transsexuals. She's like, well, I'm not your husband's patient. And I'm happy because Blanca was about to get up and leave, but I'm glad that Chris finally stood up for his woman. Like, stand up for her. Like, damn, your mama going in and you ain't doing nothing. So we're gonna go ahead and wrap the episode up. I don't care how long this scene is. So we see Pray Tell. So he goes to apologize to the council and he tells them that he wants to rejoin them. And they let him, they talk, I guess they're gonna let him back. So he asked them, have they checked on council? And they're like, yeah. I mean, we go by and drop him off some stuff to him, but when we go there, his bed is made up and the meds are gone. And that's when Pray Tell was like, oh shit. So we see Pray Tell, he hightails it over to the Plaza Hotel. And we see Castle on the bed. Castle is alive. So Castle couldn't go through with killing himself because he wants to live. And, Pray Tell says, okay, well, will you get rid of those pills? He says, as soon as you get rid of the alcohol. So Pray Tell and him both agree that they gonna let go of, the alcohol for Pray and the pills for Castle. So then we see Pray Tell, he goes and talks to Blanca. And Pray Tell just talking about how, he hates himself and he also hates himself for drinking. So we see Blanca, she drops Pray Tell off at the rehab facility, and that's actually where the episode ended, you guys. It was a great opening episode, 2 episodes for the final season of Pose. Let me know what you guys thought about the episode overall. Leave your comments in the comment section below, subscribe to this channel, and hit that notification bell button. And also, you guys, go subscribe to the Planet channel. Link is in the description bar below. What else? Stay safe, you guys. Take care of yourselves. Remember to wash your hands, wear your mask, socially distance, and we're going to get through this together. And stay blessed, you guys. Until the next one, I'll see you guys later. Bye, guys. Also, you guys, before we go, in the comment section, you guys, just wish me good luck on this interview that I have later today. I'll see you guys later. Bye.